Come on, spin. Let's talk about let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that make me. Let's talk about. Let's talk about. Let's talk about. Let's talk about.
And let's get our facts straight. Our nutrition facts. You see a lot of things on the foods that you love, on the foods that you eat on a consistent basis, and you hear the experts saying different things. Low fat, low carb, low sugar, gluten-free, GMO-free, organic. Does any of it really matter at the end of the day? It's so confusing. The first place that you can start if you're a little bit unsure, because there is so much garbage out there, is just start learning how to read the labels. Let's talk about what we're actually looking for when we're reading the labels. Let's be honest here. You gotta be really careful about what you're choosing. They market everything as healthy. Were they gonna really tell you that it's not good for you? One thing that you can start to look at right away is what you're drinking. Are you drinking your calories? Are you drinking those shakes that are disguised as health food? You know which ones they are. If you turn over the label and it has more than 15 grams of sugar, even if it's fruit sugar, don't drink your calories if you're trying to lose weight. Now, don't get me wrong, endurance athletes need these things, but a lot of us are just not training at those very high levels. If you're in the gym and you're lifting a significant amount of weight and you're doing very high volume, you might need one. You will likely benefit from having these sugars during your workout. If you're just the regular weekend gym warrior, if you work in an office, if you sit at a desk, if you're spending hours a day commuting, you probably are not benefiting from those sports drinks. So what about the people who still swear that they need electrolytes? Endurance athletes or people who are having extremely intense workouts outdoors in hot weather need a way to maintain their sodium balance in their body, and they do this by replacing electrolytes through these sports drinks. Again, the key here being high amount of activity, lots of energy, and in the most popular one that you can think of even came from, it was from a college football team in Florida where it was created to help the athletes make it through the games. Pretty intense. Here's a little tip. When you are looking at a label, the first thing that you might want to check is the serving size. If there are 4 servings in a tiny bag, it's probably not going to be very satisfying. Let's take a look at a few other things that we should be checking on the label. Our macronutrients, protein, carbohydrates, which also break down to fiber and sugar, and fats. Also, you can check for sodium content. Here's a little tip on choosing bread. I don't personally cut it out of my diet. I actually really like it, but I do like the sprouted grain and the live grain stuff. It tends to be a little bit higher in fiber, and in some cases, it might even be higher in protein, which is always a plus. You might hear a lot of stuff going on in the fitness world right now about choosing protein snacks. The reason this is because you might not be getting enough protein in your diet. In general, when most people start a fitness program, chances are pretty high that they're not getting enough protein. If you reach for a protein snack, that will be ideal. There are protein bars that are way better than others. Just because it's called a protein bar does not mean that you should reach for it, because it might hinder you rather than help you toward your goals. And we'll get into that in just a minute. Has the word carb been a 4-letter word? Stop it. No, seriously, just stop it. And I really don't mean to offend. I just mean if you have been trying something and it hasn't been working for you, you gotta be honest with yourself too. Has it been working for you? If it hasn't, you probably need to incorporate more carbohydrates into your diet in order to fuel your workouts efficiently. I'm not gonna go into the science of glycogen storage, the way your body processes this substrate for energy. That's gonna be an entirely different video. For the sake of our sweet little macronutrient, we want to go through what's ideal about it and what parts of it are not, so you can make a more informed decision. Yes, there are some people who are carb sensitive and others who can tolerate it at much higher levels. They've been given a really bad name. when it comes down to carbs is that we had been choosing in the past a lot of carbohydrate foods that are very high in sugar. White processed breads, white pasta, a lot of things that have been processed. Sugar. We should find a way to shorten that to 4 letters. Shug. That is the real 4-letter word that we need to be concerned about. And yes, fruit still breaks down to sugar. Unless you're an endurance athlete or you're pushing your butt off during your workouts, you just might be getting too much sugar. Now, this is where I like to mention the protein bars that I had talked about earlier. Check out the sugar content. Some of the more well-known bars contain too much of it, just way too much. Now, I will do a video more detail about how to use sugar to your advantage intra, during, and post-workout. This is where you can really use sugar to your max benefit. If you're waking up in the morning and grabbing a piece of fruit, or you're just mindlessly grabbing fruit all day long and you feel a little puffy most of the time, you might want to rethink how much sugar overall that you're taking in. If you're wondering about a food and you're not really sure if it fits into the category of having too much sugar, you can kind of look at it and see if it has more than 5 to 8 grams of sugar per serving. You might want to limit how much of it you're eating. Track your macronutrients, lose it. MyFitnessPal, lose it. My Plate. Make it a game with yourself to see how little sugar you can eat in one day. Also, be careful of foods that are labeled fat-free, often loaded with sugar to replace the flavor that's missing from having taken out the fat. You don't have to start off being a hawk about your carbohydrates, but you should start off being a hawk about your sugar, because that is going to make a huge difference in your results. I like to choose live grain versions of my favorite foods like breads and pastas in order to make sure that I'm getting the fiber that I really need. Fiber helps to regulate blood sugar levels, keep the digestive system working as it needs to. If it's higher in fiber, it's probably a lot lower in sugar. Fats are not your enemy. Your brain needs them to regulate hormones, mood. Don't cut them out. Choose them wisely. Avocados, nuts, salmon. You need a wide variety of fats, but for now, focus on choosing whole foods that Again, you can watch my videos about tracking your macros, watch my video about how to calculate your calories so you know that you're actually eating enough. But this is one macronutrient that it can be a little bit easy to go overboard with because the calories in 1 gram of fat it's 9 calories per gram as opposed to protein and carbs, which are 4 calories per gram. So fat is extremely dense. Hence, I know a lot of people have a peanut butter addiction. I do solemnly swear that I have consumed hundreds of jars of almond butter in my life. But don't cut them out of your diet completely. Sodium. Should you cut the salt out of your diet? If you have any medical conditions that require that you limit your sodium intake. If you're drinking a lot of water and working out consistently, this might not be an issue for you. This can very much be an individual preference, and it can be very important if you have a medical need for reducing sodium in your diet. Keeping in check your protein, carbohydrates, fats, and making sure your sugars are low are also going to lead to an improved bill of health that can also reduce the effects of sodium on your body. We have to learn to look at everything within the context of something else and not demonize any one nutrient. We can't even demonize sugar when you're doing those really heavy deadlifts. So, these are just some tips and tricks that you can use when you go grocery shopping. Hopefully, they help you make better decisions and choose a little more wisely and more informed when it comes to the foods that you like to eat. I hope this information helps you when you go to the supermarket and you're trying to figure out what you should choose, why you should read the labels, and how to actually read them. Comment down below if this did help you, share this video, subscribe to my channel. I love sharing my information about nutrition, and I would love to hear what you guys want. So comment down below if you want me to do a video on a very specific topic. Thank you so much for watching. Ooh.